All right, Anti-Millions is already there. Hi, Anti-Millions and Element. You're the first.
Congratulations, Anti-Millions. Woohoo!
Oh, okay,
I'm doing a little dance. I couldn't say it right away because I had food in my mouth and I didn't want to be rude.
okay, let me go over here.
Okay, did I flip over? I don't think so.
I have to
Oh, wait, what's coming here?
Okay. Wow. Okay. Go over here. Oh my gosh, I've got too many tabs open. Person can't have this many tabs open. It's not possible. Okay, now let me go to the script. To the script, I say, to the script. Okay, so now there's then some new information that they're going to have a hearing on when was that? On Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, which is the 14th of December, and the judge will not issue her ruling until on or before the 16th. Okay, so I think they don't want mayhem, but they're going to be by Zoom coming into that hearing anyway. Oh, we'll see what happens.
In the Peterson case?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Mm,
Yep.
It's weird.
yeah.
As my daughter would say, it's sus.
Yes, that's...
Mm.
Okay, so we are up to... We did Russell Graybill, we did Susan Medina, we did Byron Duderfeld, we did Craig Wend, we did John Hodson, okay, and now we're on David Quarter, I think, right? That's where we left off, yeah. David Quarter, I'm pretty sure that's where we are. From the Modesto PD. So I'll send this to you, Sharon. I think it might be, okay.
Okay.
Let's see. This will be Sharon. Okay. I'll change this screen. Okay. Uh-oh, John Wasaki, you got timed out by Nightbot. Uh-oh, what happened? Why did Nightbot time out John Wasaki? Sorry, John Wasaki. I don't know what's gotten into Nightbot.
What, did Nightbot go wild?
Nightbot
What happened?
timed out John Wasaki. I don't know why. He said, how do you do that?
God, Nightbot is becoming intelligent.
Sorry, John.
Why is he doing these things? John, I apologize.
Sorry, John. I don't know why. Nightbot might have a little crazy juice or something. I don't know.
Oh, back to the program. I apologize. That was shocking.
Why would it do that? He said, maybe because of what you said, SHOT. I don't know. Nightbot just wasn't having any of that. I don't know. Weird. Okay. Nightbot is a automated moderator,
It's not live.
but
Bag of
Sharon
balls.
doesn't care for Nightbot, but He
No,
does
I don't.
throw out links and stuff during the night so the mods don't have to do it. And if you ask him for an email, he'll give you an email. You blocked Nightbot, Sassy Darcy? Not nice. Not nice.
I didn't know you could.
I thought you're not supposed to be able to block a moderator. I don't know.
I didn't think you could.
I know. All right. Let's see. So we are on to day. It's June 10th, 2004. Okay.
Mhm.
You ready?
Oh, yeah. Direct examination by Rick DeStasso. Do you want to call your next witness?
Yes. Officer Corder.
Officer.
Corder. Corder.
Yes, I do. Be seated. State and spell your name for the record. Officer David Corder, Corder. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Corder, you're obviously in uniform. You're obviously a Modesto police officer.
Yes,
And how long have you been a sworn peace officer in the state of California?
10 years.
And what are your duties right now?
Right now, I'm an officer assigned to investigate services investigating property crimes.
At one point, were you also on the K-9 unit?
Yes, I was for 8 years.
And that's the dog unit, correct?
Correct.
On December 24th of 2002, were you at that time assigned to the K-9 unit?
Yes, I was.
And as part of your duties in that unit, were you asked to assist in the search of the Dry Creek Park area with your K-9?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury, and let's just start at the beginning, you were on duty on the 24th?
Actually, I was on duty on the 25th.
Okay.
Working day shift, which is 6 in the morning until 5 o'clock at night. And as soon as we got out of the briefing, which is at 6:45 in the morning, I was dispatched to the Dry Creek area, La Loma Park, to assist in the search.
Okay, and the jury has seen these pictures a million times, but this is just to orient you. This is an aerial of the Dry Creek Park area, correct?
Correct.
Just to put so what we're looking at here are the tennis courts. Here's Covina. Does this look familiar to you?
Yes.
Okay, let's just start at the beginning. You got out of the briefing. You were asked to go down to the park?
Yes.
Okay, where did you go?
I actually went to the 500 block at Covina, actually where Covina meets Edgebrook, and met up with another officer there.
Okay, if you look at this little diagram here, People's 33, you said you went to Edgebrook and Covina. So this area right here.
Yes.
And what happened?
I met up with other officers. They told me that they had been searching the park during the night and wanted to know if I would use my K-9 to help search the park and also surrounding area.
Okay, and do you remember what the weather was like?
It was cold and damp. I don't remember anything else besides that.
Okay, and was the sun up at that time by the time you got there?
Yeah, it was daylight. The sun wasn't shining though because of the dew or the fog in the area.
And what happened next? You met up with them, they asked you to search. What happened?
They asked me to search. I talked to Officer Gonzalez, who had been out in the park all night with his K-9. He told me they had been back and forth.
Is this okay? I wonder if they want to. I just have this showing on the screen for right now for a little bit, but then I can move it off. But I didn't you know what I didn't realize? I thought that if I read that, it didn't include us. But they can tell us what they like. But I don't know. I'll just leave it like this. I can do it perfectly like this. Sorry. I don't even know. I'm not making much sense. Okay.
Okay.
So you were saying, hold on a minute. What was your last line? Because I was moving.
They asked me to search. I talked to Officer Gonzalez, who had been out in the park all night with his canine. He told me they had been back and forth.
Okay. Hold on. I got way down here. All right. Wow, I got really down there. Okay. They told me they had been searching the park. Weather was like it's cold, yes, and the sun was up, yes, it was daylight. Okay, they asked me to, okay, objection, hearsay.
Hearsay sustained.
Actually, Your Honor, it's not for the truth. I want to offer it why he went. What does he say? Why does he just say, where did you go next? Well, those areas were searched and he's aware of it.
Right. I'll tell you what. I'll let you explain the subsequent conduct, not for the truth. What did Gonzalez tell you? He told me that the areas he had searched, that way I could determine what areas I wanted to search and concentrate on with my dog. Go ahead.
Okay. Where did you go?
We decided that since they had already been through the park the night prior, that myself and Officer Fisher, who was a trainee at the time, would search some of the streets and alleyways around the 500 block of Covina.
Okay, and did you do that?
Yes, we did.
And does People's 33 show any of the areas where you searched? If you look at, do you see Covina listed on there do you see Edgebrook?
Yes.
Can you don't need to write on that, but can you just show the neighborhood area you searched?
We started here at the intersection of Covina and Edgebrook. I walked the front yards all the way down Highland and then came back and went through the alley, which runs behind Highland, came back out Santa Barbara, down Encina, and then I went 1 block north on every one of those streets here. Santa Barbara, Santa Cruz, Roland, and Covina Avenue, and I went down 1 block, which I believe is Roble in that area.
Okay, and did you find anything like that, anything that you felt was of evidentiary value in that case?
No.
And what happened next?
We went back to where Covina meets the park. I used my canine to search the areas that were hard for people to get into.
Okay, and so when you say where Covina meets the park, here, this is where the Dry Creek Park area place that would be?
Yes.
And we've heard testimony that in these areas are they're kind of called different names, but I guess this one is called Thousands Oak Park?
Correct.
But this whole area is the Dry Creek portion that we're seeing right here.
Yes.
And then there is a little trail that leads down to the end of the park near Covina.
Yes.
And so you took your dog down there.
I took my dog down there, right along the southern edge of the park. There's backyards back up to the edge of the park, and there's a lot of shrubbery and bushes and stuff that's overgrown, which makes it hard for people to look in there and search. So I used my dog on an area search to search up through the bushes that weren't visible to the people.
Okay, and your dogs are trained to kind of search out human scent, I guess, down there.
Yes.
You sent the dog into the bushes and whatnot, and did the dog find anything of evidentiary value?
No.
The area down in there, can you drive a car down into the park there? I mean, can the public take a car down in there?
No.
All right. Are you aware of any, like, homeless encampments down there along the creek bed?
Yes, I am.
Do the homeless folks drive their cars up there in the, the creek bed, park them there, and that's where they keep everything?
No.
Okay, so you can't get a car down there is what I'm trying to get at.
You can, but it's usually reserved for police cars, emergency vehicles, or park workers.
So there's access points for official people to get in there, but the public can't take a car down into this area.
No.
All right, and what happened next then?
I searched eastbound along that southern edge all the way up to where El Vista crosses over the park.
Okay, let's see. Let me see. if that's on the diagram here. Okay, yeah. So if you could come up here right now. Actually, if I can have you do me a favor. You see this is Scenic Road?
Yes.
Can you just label it? You can write on it just like that. Officer, just write scenic on there so we know what you're talking about.
Right on chart.
And then El Vista is, do you see this El Vista? Here is El Vista.
Yes, El Vista is the first major street, or the only street that crosses the river east of the tennis courts.
Okay, and El Vista, and then Oakdale on the other side, right?
Correct. As soon as it meets Scenic, which is right here, it's El Vista this way and Oakdale.
All right, let's just go ahead and write, you can write El Vista right here, where it's kind of in the neighborhood.
Right on chart.
Okay, and you can go ahead and have a seat again. So you took your dog, you searched the rest of the park all the way to where the El Vista Bridge is.
Yes.
Did you do the same thing, run the dog along down the creek bed?
Along the edge where the dirt actually drops off toward the water, it's steep in some areas, not very safe for people or dogs to work along there. So I worked whatever brush was safe to work along the edge of the bank.
And you did that all the way down to the El Vista Bridge?
I went east on the south edge of the park up to El Vista, and then I turned around and worked the south end of the riverbank going westbound.
Okay, just so we're clear, since the directions aren't going to mean a whole lot to people, can you come up here to the diagram? So you're working the dog along this edge of the creek.
First I started where Covina drops into the park.
Just so it would be right here?
Which is right there exactly.
Okay.
I worked along where you see these residences here. I worked a fence line which has a lot of bushes along it all the way down until we got to El Vista. I stopped at El Vista and then came back and started working the edge of the water and the bank and all the brush all the way back to Keywan Park.
And Keywan Park, we've heard some testimony, is on that diagram. Would it be to the left-hand side, kind of the furthest westernmost portion of the park?
Yes.
And again, did you find anything of evidentiary value?
No.
All right. What did you do next?
As I was working along the edge of the creek, I noticed that there was quite a bit of water in there and some deep spots. So I requested through Sergeant Beffa that we have the fire department come out with their raft or Zodiac and use them to search the waterway.
The fire department, they have some kind of like a swift water rescue team?
Yes.
And the creek bed, that's dry creek bed, is kind of like a seasonal creek. And what I mean by that, it runs harder in the winter.
Yes.
And then, hold on, and then it kind of lowers down in the summer, sorry.
Yes.
So this is, of course, the winter time in December. And as you're working along the creek, you saw it was running pretty good.
Yeah, it was running pretty good. It wasn't up to capacity, but it definitely had enough deep spots to where something could be concealed under the water.
Okay, so you said you called for the fire department.
Yes, fire department and their boat crew.
Okay, what happened? Did you see and observe what happened?
Yes, they came out to the La Loma Park, the main park there next to the tennis courts, and they brought their truck in by the picnic area and their water crew, loaded the Zodiac down into the river there.
And did you actually see them run the boat down the entire length of the creek?
I saw them run the boat all the way from here to Keywan Park.
Okay, so all the way from the tennis courts area, all the way down to the westernmost edge of the park?
Yes.
And did they get out of the water and probe the creek and kind of move their boat downward?
Yes, they had to, because there are certain spots in there where there might be a lot of brush, and they actually had to get out and physically move their boat around the bushes and the debris.
And you saw that. How many hours had gone by?
Probably 5 to 6 hours.
Okay, and what happened next then?
Once they got down to Kewin Park, I quit following along with them and went ahead and worked the southern edge of the park back up to where the footpath came down.
Did the boat crew continue on down? I mean, did you see them continuing, but you just turned back?
I don't know if they were stopped to move around something and then continued back. I don't recall.
Okay, so you left them at Kewin Park, and when you say you worked the southern edge, you're coming back from Kewin, and again, working the right-hand side of the creek bed. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, what happened next?
Well, I not only I worked the creek bed on my way down, and I worked the brush near the backyards to back up to the park on the way back up to the footpath.
Okay, and did you use your dog during that search again?
Yes.
And when you got back to the foot of the trail on the edge of Covina, did you find anything of evidentiary value?
No.
What happened next?
I believe it was around 2 o'clock or so in the afternoon. I took the trainee that was riding with me, Mr. Fisher, back to the police department where he completed his report.
And when trainees are with you, it's kind of their training and duty to write the report of the incident.
Yes.
And what happened next, if anything, on that particular day regarding this incident?
That's all the action I took that day.
Okay, were you involved in any other day of searches that were set up either in Stanislaus County or out of Stanislaus County for Lacey Peterson?
Yes, I was.
What was the next time you did something?
I believe it was January 6th.
And what did you do?
I was called by Officer Matt Pons, and he knew that I had some all-terrain vehicles that could be helpful in their search, and asked if I'd be willing to come with 2 of my all-terrain vehicles and go up to LaGrange, California.
All right, hold on. Let me stop you. Just to put us in the perspective of where we are. Stanislaus County is where Modesto is located, correct?
Correct.
And is LaGrange, do you know if it's in Stanislaus County?
I think it's in about 4 different counties.
Okay, it's one of those corner places, right?
Yes.
Is it east, though, of Modesto?
Yes, it's east of Modesto.
So it's toward the foothills?
Yes.
What happened then? Were you asked to assist in the search out there?
Yes, we met up and went to the old LaGrange Bridge. Officer Ponce knew that there had been some mine shafts in the area that they would like to check. Officer Ponce and I rode east from the LaGrange footbridge to a mine shaft going into the side of a mountain. You can see that the sand was disturbed and there were footprints towards it. So I went into the mine shaft and crawled back to see if there was anything in there.
Okay, did you find anything?
No.
Did you do anything else?
We checked 3 other mine shafts up in that same general area during the course of the day.
And you didn't find anything?
No.
Were you involved in any other searches for Lacey Peterson?
No.
Okay, does that pretty much conclude a summary of the activities you took in this particular investigation?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Cross-examination by Mark Garagos. Mr. Garagos.
Thank you, Judge. Officer Coda, the first time that you were dispatched to the investigation was on the morning, Christmas morning, the 25th.
Yes.
That was about 6 o'clock in the morning, you said.
6:46.
6:46. And you said that you thought it was daylight by then.
Yeah, I could see around without my flashlight.
Okay, the first place that you went was where?
The 500 block of Covina, right here. Covina and Edgebrook. There's a pointer there. Okay, we parked several patrol cars right here in this area of Covina.
Covina and Edgebrook.
Yeah, that's a dead end right there. so it's a good place to park our cars.
When you say we, who was there? Who was there with you?
Myself and several other day shift officers were there. I could give you a list of them from my report. It's quite extensive.
Okay, so more than 5 or 6?
Yes.
Okay, when you went over there, were you the only K-9 unit?
At that point in time, yes.
Okay, and then did you work the neighborhood along with this trainee Fisher?
Work the residential streets, do you mean?
The residential streets.
Yes.
Okay, and specifically, where did you go first?
I started by walking along the front yards of Highland. This is the Peterson residence here, and this is the street that backs up to it.
Okay.
A lot of these houses have really deep set front yards with some garages in the back, so I actually walked back into several of those yards to see if anybody could have gone back there and been injured. Went back, looked around, and continued around the front of all the residences looking, checking things such as garbage cans, or there were a lot of prunings in the street.
Okay, as you're going along, and would your typical search be of a house? Would you be going into the backyards, or were you just basically trying to go through the front yards and see if there's anything that's around?
Just check the front yards, something that would be easy for a person if they were injured or something where they might stumble up to.
So I understand correctly? So the jury understands? You're not going inside these houses here.
No, not inside the houses or the backyards.
Or the backyards. What you're doing is you're looking to see if the front yards or the side yards, where you can see, I take it, whether or not somebody's either stumbled in there or fell in there, something like that.
Yes.
Then, as you do, that you were assigned to a specific area, do you guys take quadrants or areas? Did you divide that? Let me ask you it better. When you parked easterly, there was a number of officers, it looks like 10 or 12, right?
Correct.
Do you guys divide up the territory you're going to look at?
I don't remember exactly how we divided the area. I know that we had a method to it. I know that Fisher and I would take a couple blocks either way.
Okay, now as you're coming along here, you're just looking in the front yards to the best of your knowledge. Is that standard practice for one of these types of searches so that the others would be doing roughly the same thing, just going through the front yard to the front yard?
On a missing person type search?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I understand correctly. Nothing that you know of was ordered or you were not instructed to go and search the houses, I take it, inside the residences.
No.
And as you went down Highland, you went through the front yards. How far down did you go?
Highland comes down. If it intersects with Santa Barbara here. And the small alley that runs behind here actually comes back into Highland about over here off your map.
Okay.
Once I came through the front yards and the street looking here, I went back up the alley, came back around, and then checked back down Covina and then all the surrounding streets.
Okay, now do you have a clear memory of on Covina that morning, Christmas morning? I assume you were there, 6:46 all the way through 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Did I understand that correct?
Correct.
Okay, during that time, did the street become active or filled up with people? Covina is what I'm referring to.
I don't recall being packed or anything, just a normal police activity going around with people searching different areas.
Okay, now at the time that you finished doing these yard searches, for a lack of a better term, you kind of did a full sweep, I guess, of the alley. Is that fair?
Yes.
And that's you, Fisher, and your dog.
I didn't have my dog at the time.
Okay, where was the dog?
He was in the car parked at Covina and Edgebrook.
Did you go back and get the dog?
Not until I finished searching the yards and alleyways.
Okay, how long did that take?
The report indicates that we finished the yards around 8 o'clock. I believe it took a little longer than that.
Okay, when you went What did you do after you finished doing the yards?
I went back and got my canine partner,
Okay, and what's the canine's name?
Nike.
And you and Nike went where?
We went down the footpath.
Okay, now as you, that would be at the end of Covina, correct?
Yes,
Okay, the Peterson house is here and 200 yards down to the footpath there.
yes,
Okay, then you walk down the footpath. It's a fairly well-traveled path, is it not?
yes,
Okay, and that leads to the park itself?
yes.
What the various officers testified of various names of the park is, but do you have any are you familiar with this park area?
Yes.
What, as you first entered this park, as you go down the trail into the park off of Covina, by the way, right here, there is a kind of a dead end or a cul-de-sac, isn't that right?
Well, the roadway ends up in this area here. It just stops right here. Actually, seems like it's right back over here in an actual paved surface. And then there is a,
And then there is a path that goes into the park, correct?
yes,
Now, when you enter into it, what is the name of the park that you go into?
it depends who you ask
That's true.
and what map you're looking at. It's got Thousand Oaks Park, East La Loma Park. I usually call it La Loma Park.
La Loma Park.
Yes,
Now, when you went down that path, you had your canine and you had Nike with you, right?
yes.
Okay, and what was the first area where was the first area you went? Did you go all the way to the left or the right?
I went to the right.
Okay, and as you went to the right, if it is this area in here, there's a lot of vegetation around here, is there not?
Along the edges, most of the way, there's quite a bit of vegetation.
Okay, and were you searching or looking in that vegetation in there?
Yes, the dog was.
Okay, you didn't go in?
I would search it as easy if it was easy to get in there without being over in head in bush. I would.
Okay, and then did you find any items at all? Whether mittens or gloves or things of that nature?
No.
Okay, did you, as the dog was searching, you would work the brush areas, correct?
Yes.
And then you turned to the right and you headed in, I guess probably easier to look on 36, isn't it? If you get your bearings here as to where you are.
Here's right where the path comes down here.
Okay, and where did you go from there?
I worked the brush area all along the back of the houses, which would be the south side of the park.
Okay,
And as I worked it all the way up to El Vista, then I searched and came back around.
okay, and now as you're doing that, are you running into any transients along the way in this area?
I didn't see any transients along this area here.
Where did you see them?
I heard, well, actually, I saw some officers talking to some transients
Okay, over by the hospital area?
right across from where the hospital is. So let's see, it should be,
Is that right below Scenic?
yeah, it's right below Scenic, a little bit west of where Coffee Road West intersects with it.
Okay, now as you and the dog are working this area and the brush, approximately how long did it take you to do that, to get down to El Vista?
I really have no idea.
Okay, is it a fair statement that whatever time you got back from doing the front yard searches, 8 to 8:30, whatever that might have been then, that you went down there to the park and spent the rest of your time in the park?
Yes,
Okay, and the rest of the time you went down in the park there with Nike?
yes.
Okay, at approximately what time did the fire department show up?
I don't recall, and it's not indicated in the report.
Okay, had you been in the park for a while before they showed up?
Whatever time it took me to get down to El Vista and start working the actual river edge back is when I thought there was some kind of hazardous looking spots and deep spots, and we ought to call for fire. I made a request through Lieutenant Beppa or Lieutenant Abel, whoever was there, whatever time it was, took to organize their team and come out.
Now, when you say there's some hazardous spots or some deep spots as you're working this area along the backyards, is there a trail that one could walk on? You walked around about the trail that comes off Cavina. Is there a walking trail that also goes along to El Vista?
There's a paved area that runs right down the middle of the park. It's a bike and walking path.
Okay, and how far from the bike and walking path is that deep water as you described it in, or these hazardous areas?
It varies because of the path. The paved path goes at an angle through the park.
So, it's serpentine, swings back and forth closer to the area and then farther away at different points.
Yes,
Okay, what's the closest that it gets?
this is just a guess, but it may be as close as 25 to 30 feet.
Okay, now as you're heading towards El Vista, are there some tennis courts as well that you would pass?
Yes,
Okay, and there's also a parking lot, I guess. Is that correct? And where I've got my pen.
that's correct.
Okay, so you're working in this area on the side that goes all the way past the tennis courts, and then you turn around and you come back along this route, and the one that I got my pen on.
Exactly.
Now, at what point did you meet up with the fire department?
About straight across from the tennis court area.
Okay, and were they on the other side? You had been working? What is this, the north side?
South side.
South side, I'm sorry. But you work in the south side and you pass the tennis courts and you meet up with them as you're on the south side.
On the north side.
On the north side, okay. They did actually get into the water?
Yes,
Are they in boats?
they're in a Zodiac boat, is what I call it. I don't know if that's exactly what they're called. It kind of has a metal aluminum bottom and it's rubber on the outside.
Okay, how many people fit in those?
I don't remember.
More than one?
Well, the crew was probably 3 or 4 guys. I don't remember how many were in the boat and how many were acting as safety officers with ropes.
Okay, can you describe for the jury what they were doing in the creek?
They were going along in the boat in the areas where the boat would fit, and they were probing any deep holes or any areas that you couldn't plainly see and make sure that there was nothing in the water.
Okay, would the boat float along as they were doing this?
In some portions,
Okay, and did they have ropes attached to it?
I believe they had ropes attached to the boat and to the firemen for a safety line.
Okay, and somebody's on the ground while they're up in that boat walking along?
Yes, there was a fireman that was walking along the bank on top where it's flat.
And you and Nike are following along there as well?
Yes,
Okay, now as you're doing that, are you checking the brush areas as well?
yes,
Okay, and this takes approximately how long? 2 hours?
maybe. That's just be a guess. 2 hours,
Okay.
maybe more, maybe less.
Who else with you besides Nike at any point besides the fire crew?
Officer Fisher was there, and later in the day, I believe 2 of our horse units came out, and they were also paralleling the boat crew that was going down.
Okay, now in the report it says at one point you crossed into the bridge area of the river. Do you know where that is?
Yes.
Can you point it out along the map?
As you come along the park, there's a footbridge and crosses heads. This would be Coffee Road. Dead ends, and the footbridge comes out right in that area. I think that you can see it run right down there, here, and angles over.
Do you want to write down with one of those markers, the black one, just write footbridge there?
Right on the map.
Now you indicated before in your testimony you stopped searching at about 2 o'clock. Is that correct?
Correct.
And the initial, or at least the report, indicates that there were 2 CSOs, 3 equestrian units, 2 bike units. Is that accurate as far as you can remember?
Yes.
Okay, and were all of these people with you down there your entire time period of the search down in the park itself?
No, they weren't with me. They would take their own areas or walk whatever area they wanted to walk.
Okay, and then did you all come back up through the park and up the trail that leads to back onto Covina?
I don't know how they came out, but my car was still parked there, so that's where I exited.
Okay, did you see while you were in the park there that day other non-sworn law enforcement personnel, civilians searching?
Non-sworn law enforcement?
Yes, other than the fire department, the CSOs, did you see civilians at the park?
Civilians. Yes, I did.
Okay, did it appear to be people using the park or people that were actually searching?
A little bit of both.
Okay, can you estimate how many people were out there? I mean, this would be on Christmas Day.
I couldn't even estimate.
Now, the Mr. DeStasso asked you about whether, I guess that you ended your involvement at this point, 2 o'clock. That's the end of your shift?
The end of my shift was actually 5 o'clock that night.
Okay, where did you go after 2?
I went to the station to let Mr. Fisher complete his report.
Okay, and did you do anything else in connection with the search the following day on the 26th?
I don't recall specifically going to do any searching. If I did, it might have just been a drive through the park when I began my day.
Okay, now when you say there was some questions about vehicles in the park, vehicles can actually drive into the park, and in fact, there's a parking lot. Is there a parking lot?
Yes.
That's specifically right here where this pen is. Would you mark that down, the parking lot area?
Okay.
Is this the only parking lot in the park as far as you're aware?
Yes.
Okay, how far on either side of the park where the footbridge is, and that's the scenic as we indicated before, how far would you say scenic is from that footbridge, the actual road, from the road to the footbridge?
Well, the footbridge, there's actually a path that leads from the footbridge all the way up to scenic. It's down at the base of a hill. It would strictly be a guess to say 50 to 75 yards from the actual bridge to the scenic road.
Right, and from scenic, you can actually park and walk down the path.
I don't know if you could or not at that time. There used to be some businesses on that side of the road, and they had been torn down, and I don't know if you could at that time.
Okay, how about now at the present time?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked over there.
Are there multiple openings into the park from other streets, such as there is from Covina and other areas about the entire area that you search? There are other areas where the street, you can drive up to the street, park, and just walk and via the path into the park.
The only other one I know of is further down Edgebrook, and it's a path that leads to, there's a pump house down there. I think they call it Thousand Oaks Pump House or something like that, and that's the only other real path that I can think of.
Okay, now you know where the footbridge is. There's also the Officer Hutchin was just in here and talking, and when you cross that bridge, there's a large expanse of grass. Do you know where I'm talking about, and where's there's some restrooms and a grassy area over the footbridge?
Well, there's a lot of grass across the footbridge. I don't remember if there's a bathroom.
Okay, do you remember where you can pull up on the street and there's literally some cement steps that you go down into the grassy area where you can park, you can walk 5 or 6 steps into the park at that point?
I really don't know. I don't work that side of town often.
Okay, fair enough. The 26th, you said you may have done a drive-by, a drive-through. Is that correct? Just a drive through the park?
Correct.
27th?
27th, I was dispatched to a suspicious person call.
In regards to this case?
Yes.
And where was that?
If I can refer to my report.
Sure. Do you have your report in front of you?
I do. 344 Covina on the 27th.
Let's see if you and I are talking from the same report.
Yes.
Okay, then this is the call that you had received when you were dispatched out to, is that correct? 344 Covina.
Yes, correct.
Is the corner of Covina and Roble, which is not indicated on this map. It would be the corner house, 1 block down from Encina.
Okay.
It'd be about here.
Wait. It'd be about here.
At this point, was the call in regards to the van?
Not really a van. It was in regards to a volunteer passing out flyers.
Okay.
Walked up to a house, and when they walked up, they thought they saw somebody hiding inside the house, or they thought they saw somebody run to the back of the house.
Okay. When you went there, you didn't find anybody. Is that correct?
No, it was a vacant house under renovation.
And that was approximately how far away? We talked about blocks.
2 blocks.
Okay, you didn't go inside the residence. You just kind of peered through the windows?
Peered through the windows on all sides. It was secure.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
Redirect examination by Rick DeStasso.
Thank you, Your Honor. Oh, sorry.
Redirect examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. Sorry, here goes. This is my client. Officer Recorder, I take it that the other incident on the 27th, you went around the house, you looked in the windows, right?
Yes.
You said it appeared to be under renovation?
Yes, there was no furniture inside. It looked like somebody had been doing work inside.
And there was a van outside that looked like it hadn't been driven in some time.
Yes.
Did you go back and check that again, or did you just see that again at some point?
I did. Detective Bueller had mentioned it to me and wanted to know what I'd seen when I went out there. I told him that what I had seen and told him that I would actually go back in the house and see if the van was still there. And I did, and the house was still not finished.
So pretty much still in the same condition that you saw it before.
Yes.
And that the entire time span between the 27th and before when you first went out there and then the second time.
I can't recall exactly. I'm just going off of a date on Detective Bueller's report, which is February 27th of 2003. So almost 2 months.
So almost 2 months, okay. And then regarding the people in your report that were helping you, or that were at least out there on the search. On the 25th, it looks like there was yourself, Officer Nicolai, Lieutenant Abel, Sergeant Beffa, Officer McDonald, Officer Wallish, Officer Bloed, Officer Lee, Officer Nickerson, Officer Baldwin, Officer Rea, Sergeant Melton, Officer McGill, Officer Ponce, Officer Parsons, Officer Gonzalez, Officer Barba, Detective Banks, Detective Braccini, CSO Klein, and CSO Nicolai, and CSO means Community Service Officer, correct?
Yes.
Those aren't like patrol officers. Those are investigative leads, that kind of thing.
Yeah, they respond to non-injury traffic accidents and cold burglaries. Burglaries that have already happened and there's no chance of a suspect being there.
Okay, and 3 equestrian units, 2 bike units, 2 K9 units, and that was yourself and Officer Gonzalez, right?
Actually, Officer Parsons is a K9 unit also.
The fire department, you told us about 1 detective. I think that covers it, and that's it, Your Honor. I don't have anything else.
Cross-examination by Mark Garagos. Mr. Garagos.
There's an area called Moose Park there also.
Yes.
Is there a parking lot there as well?
Yes, Moose Park has its own parking lot.
Can you see that on the aerial view that's up on the board 37?
Yes.
Can you mark that?
No, actually, it's kind of hard to see here.
Do you want to just circle it?
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
May this witness be excused?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. So let's see. It is now, well, you did read for about an hour, so we're going to go and I'm going to change the Zoom, so we're not going to go yet. Then we're going to go into the member and Patreon and watch this Meghan Markle thing. So if you'd like to join us on the Meghan Markle thing, look for the Zoom number. If you're not a member or a Patreon, you can join now if you want. It's very inexpensive, and Nightbot will give you the request there. All right, I'm going to get us out, bring us back. Okay, don't freak out. I'm bringing us back. I'm falling asleep. I want to go in my massage chair and watch this movie. I mean, watch this documentary. Okay. I won't fall asleep once I'm in my massage chair watching. Okay. Now what do I have to do? I have to put the numbers out. Okay. We'll do that. First I'm going to put it out for Patreon. And then I will... Patreon. Messages? No. I'm going to do Patreon, my page. Okay. Come on. New post. Where's my new post? New post. Where can I make my new post? Oh, here we go. They keep changing everything. It's not broken. Send Patreon. Come on. Okay. I'll put it on the community tab, and then last I'll put it in Slack. Okay. And last but not least, Slack. Okay, now we'll wait for the people. And let me get back to you guys. Wow, that's racy, sexy. Sassy Dorsey.
Hi, everybody. Hey,
Hi.
Sharon, Margot, Linda, Darcy.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Sexy picture.
Hi, everybody. Bob. How are you?
That's cute.
Hello, hello.
Hi,
Come on in,
Robin.
guys. We gotta watch this. This is gonna be good.
Will it? Hope so.
My pocket. What are you talking about?
Well, there's nothing there.
I don't know anything about it really.
Mhm.
Okay, Sharon.
I don't either.
Yes?
Can you please make me a co-host?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, everybody there, thank you so much for coming in. Join us in here if you can come on in if you want to watch with us, and then you can come into a Zoom anytime. They run 24/7, so we'll see you guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you later, okay? Bye now.
Love
Good
you
night,
guys.
everybody.
Hi,
Good
everybody.
night, everybody.
Bye. Don't forget to hit the like on the
Night.
way out.
Good night.
Come
Night.
to